Hey guys, Kaz here, and today I'm going to be talking about what I've been watching in October. So, I didn't watch as many individual things in October because I watched a lot of little amount of things, so let's just get into it. First up, I rewatched Awkward. So there's 5 seasons, I think, like 90 episodes, so a lot of my time of watching things was watching Awkward. And yeah, this is, I think it was like on MTV or something. It's a teen show. It's about this girl who has an accident and people think that she tried to commit suicide, and then she's got this stigma attached to her, and it's this whole love triangle thing. And I'd never finished this series, finished the whole show before. I think I had like the last half of the last season I'd never watched, and it's just a really fun time. I feel like it wouldn't be allowed to be made nowadays because of cancel culture, but I think it's a great TV show, really funny. I think the ending was a bit rushed though. I feel like maybe they didn't know it was going to be the end, maybe they got cancelled and they had to kind of make an ending, but I feel like that was a bit rushed. I also totally forgot that Valerie existed until she popped up, and I was like, oh my god, I remember now, this character is amazing. She's just absolutely crazy, but she's also the guidance counsellor, and yeah, I love her character. Good TV show. It also feels very realistic because the characters swear a lot, and you don't really see that very often on teen shows. I think the first time I watched it many years ago it was always bleeped, but when I watched it on Now TV they swore properly, so it just felt more natural than most TV shows. I also watched Norsemen, and I started this in September. I watched a couple of episodes, then in October I finished the first season. There are 3 seasons I believe, potentially 4, but I watched the first season anyway. And this is about Vikings, as you can probably tell. It's called Norsemen, but the thing that is amazing about this is it's a Norwegian show, and when they filmed it, they literally film it in Norwegian and English at the same time, which blows my mind and I think is amazing. I looked up, I tried to find like a clip on YouTube of the Norwegian version so I could watch that and then watch the English, and it's literally exactly the same. Like, the actors are amazing. The fact that they can just perform exactly the same scene in 2 different languages blows my mind. But yeah, it's funny. It takes a little bit of time to get into because the Norwegian language is very lilty in different ways than English is, so I feel like the points of the sentences hit at different beats than you would in English when they do it in English. So it takes a little while to get used to that because jokes and funny silly things are like they hit different. That's the thing that people say, but like in this sense they actually do, because just like the accent and the way that language works. But it is funny, it is silly. It's funny and silly, and at the same time there's loads of blood and gore and people dying because it's Vikings, so I feel like there's a really good mixture of it being like a silly version of the Vikings but also still really brutal. And yeah, looking forward to watching the rest of it. Also in October I finished Brassic. I talked about this maybe in my last what I've been watching probably, but in October I watched the last season, and yeah, it's great. It is about petty criminals in the north of England, and it's really good, and it's Joseph Gilgan. It's great. If you want to hear more about it, I probably, like I said, I talked about it in another one, but the ending of that was like, oh shit, stuff was happening. And at least I know there's definitely another season because they were filming it for a bit, and then, you know, COVID and all that shit. But I'm glad there's definitely another season because that ending, low. I also watched a film called Death in Buenos Aires. This was Spanish with English subtitles, and it was alright. It was like a murder happened, and there's a detective, and then there's this other guy on the police force that's kind of worming his way into the detective thing, and is he involved in it, is he not? I felt like I didn't know where they were trying to go with the story, because at the beginning it felt really obvious that something was happening, and then it felt like throughout the story it was trying to make it seem like, oh, maybe it did happen, maybe it didn't, and then at the end, well, obviously it did because we knew from the beginning. So yeah, it was alright. It wasn't great. I felt like a lot of the storyline didn't really make sense, but you know, it was something that I watched. Not gonna lie, I watched it because it was pitched as LGBT, because there's this like weird thing between the 2 detective people, and is it like attraction feelings or is it not kind of thing. but that wasn't a massive part of the story. It doesn't have to be. It just didn't really make much sense. I didn't really know where they were trying to go with it. Like I say, it was almost a mystery, but also it wasn't a mystery because it was obvious from the get-go. We're about halfway through, so we all know what that means. It's time for a little message from our sponsors. Hey. 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 Are you after some attention? Yeah. I also finished off Cursed, so this is another thing that I started watching in September. I talked about it in my September, what I've been watching as well. I finished the series. This is a fantasy about a fae girl and then people trying to kill all the fae. There's fighting, it's fantasy, there's alliances and bad people and good people and morally grey people. I think I mentioned this in my September, what I've been watching, but it feels kind of... how do I explain it? Not cheap, maybe young. It feels quite young because I don't know why, but like the scenery just feels very like kids TV show rather than high fantasy for adults. I don't know, it's a thing for some reason. When I was watching it I was like, I feel like this is quite a young fantasy series. And that's not a bad thing, but it's just a thing that I saw. Maybe because it wasn't as gritty. It wasn't really gritty, it was filmed quite bright. So maybe that's it. I don't know. I don't know what it was. But I liked it. And there's some stuff you find out at the end. And also Merlin's involved, and then stuff you find out at the end, and you find out some other characters' names, and you're like, oh no way. I've heard of them people from that sort of time period as well. So they're mixing already known mythology with this also fantasy-esque thing that's their own thing. Yes. And also Taskmaster's back, so that's a bonus. Been watching Taskmaster. It is an English show where a bunch of comedians have to do really silly, random, wacky tasks, and it's funny and it's good, and there's an episode every week, so I've watched a few of them so far. Also randomly I watched quite a few clips of the Norwegian version of Taskmaster because it's one of them shows that has done so well that like all over the world different people have tried to emulate Taskmaster. I've heard the American one's terrible and was cancelled after one series. But yeah, I watched some of the Norwegian ones. There weren't many clips that had English subtitles, but I found them very funny, so I would love to be able to find them. If anybody, somehow, if anybody watching this knows where to watch the full episodes of the Norwegian Taskmaster with English subtitles, let me know, because I did find it very funny, the bits that I could watch and understand. And then at the end of these videos I like to say a new to me YouTube channel that I've been watching. So I didn't start watching this in October, I started in September, but I don't think I mentioned him in my September one. Maybe I did, I can't remember, it was a month ago. But I've been really enjoying James Popsies, I think that's how you pronounce his name's channel. He's a photographer and he's really chill the way he talks. He's just like chill and just goes and sits in a field and talks about stuff and takes some pictures, and they're really nice. And yeah, I've been really enjoying watching them. It makes me want to go out and take more landscape photography because I've took pictures at concerts for so many years. The way I edit is very much that pop, lots of saturation, lots of clarity, like. But then his pictures of landscape are so soft, and I'm like, oh, I wish my brain knew how to edit softly, because I'm just like colour, clarity, everything with landscape as well, because I've never known how to do that properly. So I very much enjoy watching his videos and they make me want to try and learn how to edit softly. So there we go, that is the end of the video. Let me know down below what you've been watching in October. If you watched any of the things I mentioned, let me know what you thought about them. And if this is your first video by me and you enjoy it, then please check out some of my others. And if you continue to enjoy, then please subscribe, that'd be awesome. Anyway guys, I'll see you in a few days with another video. Bye.